All right, team, huddle up. Let's talk about the trap that's got way too many mid-career pros stuck on the sidelines. I call it the misery versus mayhem dilemma. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Coach Sam, and this is Locker Talk, the podcast where we cut through the career noise and get clear about the plays that actually move you forward. No fluff, just clarity, strategy, and stories from the real trenches of the mid-career moves. Now, back to the dilemma. On one side, you've got misery, grinding it out in a job that drains you physically, mentally, emotionally. You tell yourself, it's not that bad. You push through. You say, just another month, just another quarter, just another year. You wait for things to change. And on the other side, you have mayhem. That's quitting without a plan. That's applying to jobs you don't even want just to escape. That's debating if is retail that bad? You torch the whole playbook because you don't know what else to do. And here's the truth. Both of those moves will cost you, and neither one gets you what you actually want. Clarity, direction, momentum. Maybe you've been there. I have. So the moment I faced that exact choice was when I was sitting across from an HR rep I had never met. And he told me that after 15 years of the company, the position I was in was being eliminated. And I had a choice. I could either find another role with the company. And he said, good news. You're one of the first people we're telling this to. So you've got a jump on everybody applying to internal jobs. And all I could think of was the Hunger Games. Uh, or I could take a severance package and leave. And it was a terrible conversation. The only good thing I got out of it was that I had time. I had about a month and a half to make a decision. And so I really gave myself a moment to reflect on what I wanted. I did all the things you normally do, though, first. I rage applied to a bunch of jobs externally, pulled off my resume, dusted it off. It wasn't very good, but I figured, hey, it works well enough. Applied to random stuff out there in the world. Talked to everybody I could think of internally to see what kind of opportunities they might have on their teams, all that sort of good stuff. But then I also thought I need a moment to reflect. And so I went to my local library via the Libby app to check out Simon Sinek's Find Your Why. And that book is really about kind of finding your purpose, your what's your reason for doing what you do, and really bringing all that together in like a clear why statement at the end of the day. So I listened to it, I wrote notes, I did all the exercises, I thought through everything. And by the end of just that exercise and talking to other people and spending really some time to think about what is it that I wanted now that I was given this choice, I got to make the decision, right? I didn't have to make the decision. I got to make the decision. And so with that, what did I really want? And so at the end of the day, I decided to not choose either option. I wasn't going to stay and I wasn't going to go. I was going to try a third path that was starting a business, gambling on myself, starting a coaching practice. And it's been 3 years at this point now. And it's been a hard road, but it's been the one that is more fulfilling, is more aligned, is putting me in the direction, is a series of decisions that I keep choosing to bet on the thing that really aligns me. And that was the moment that I realized, right, as I went through all of this, as I've gone through, this journey of making these changes, it was in that moment of doing the self-reflection, of really choosing this alternate path, that I realized that a lot of the mistake that people make is just thinking that we have to do this or that, right? We have to choose the misery of staying if that's how we're feeling in our job, or the mayhem of blowing it up and finding something else and all of this. And really, there are so many other paths. There's a third path, which is just turning into reflection and thinking about very purposefully what you want to do. I had a friend who called me up about a year after I went through the experience I went through, and she said, Sam, I also just, got laid off and decided to leave. And I decided to take a summer for me. I'm calling it the summer of me. And I am doing all of the things that I want to do, to take a moment, take a breath, take a breather, figure out what I want to do next. And a lot of people are giving me a hard time about it. And so she and I talked that, when we choose these moments of kind of turning inward, of being more reflective, of choosing an alternate path, right? That's not the one that everyone expects, right? Stay at this job or find another job immediately. And when we choose this third option, sometimes that feels like judgment from other people, from ourselves. And it's really in working through all of that that you find that clarity, that freedom, that self-drive to know that there are more than one options, right? I call this a purposeful reboot, right? It's turning the whole thing off and turning it back on again and really thinking about what does the clean, non-buggy version look like when I turn it back on, right? How do I clean the system? How do I figure out, how to fix all those little things that are popping up or slowing me down or, taking up the memory? And how do I make sure that I can move forward in a purposeful way, right? It's a reset really rooted in who you are right now, not who you were 10 years ago, not who you were after just saying yes, saying yes, saying yes, saying yes. And you look around and say, I don't really know how I got here. Or, hey, I'm looking outward and the trajectory isn't something that I'm comfortable with or that I like or that I really want to be doing. And so really taking that moment to get real about your values and directions, really rework the tools that you have, right? Rework that resume, rework the LinkedIn, rework your narrative and your brand overall, and build a strategy that actually fits where you want to go next. And that's what I break down in this week's blog. Really want you to think about, if you're feeling stuck between burning out or blowing it all up, think about what that could look like if you were to choose an alternate path, if you were to choose a purposeful reboot and a purposeful reset. And I think that if you read the blog, think about the questions, think about the things that I've got in there, you'll find yourself on maybe a little bit of a path that feels more aligned, more in the direction of where you want to go. Because I think that we often feel like we have to push forward. We have to choose misery or mayhem or this or that or black or white or up or down or yes or no or go or stay. And in reality, most of life happens in the in between, in the gray, in the let me take a breath, let me take a moment and figure out how to reboot, how to turn it off and turn it back on in a version that doesn't have those things slowing me down and kind of moving me in the wrong direction. So if you're ready to stop choosing between the bad options, I want you in the career reboot that I've got going on. We're walking through this together, play by play, really taking 12 weeks to do this slow, do this right, and really think about what is the career that you want. It's a great time of year to do that because, hey, the kids are back to school. We're hitting that Q4 energy. And in the middle of that, that can kind of feel a bit chaotic. And so, hey, let's carve out an hour and a half every week just for you to sit down and think about your direction and set yourself up for success for next year. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to start over. You just need a better playbook. So if this hits home, here's what to do next. Read the blog. The link is in the show notes. Definitely check that out. Share the episode with somebody stuck, or if you heard a friend recently talk about the things I'm talking about and say, hey, maybe listen to this, maybe read that blog. And if you're ready for some support, some structure, and a better playbook, check out the Career Reboot. That's also linked below. You don't have to watch your career happen from the sidelines. I want you to put down the popcorn and get in the game.